Right, Fernando Vargas, thank you very much for coming on to theboxingbar.com, my friend. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And Fernando, it feels like I found the missing piece to the puzzle, man. For years, I've been hoping to get you on without having a guy like Fernando Vargas to come on this 805 or what started to be an 805 type page. How can you have that? It's like having, the a page for somebody without having the main person there, the one that made Oxnard what it is today. And so thank you very much for coming on and, finally doing this.
I appreciate that. Thank you. No problem.
And Fernando, first question. I know you were Downs forever, and you always threw up Oxnard. Is that where you were actually born, though?
I was born and raised in Oxnard, California. I grew up on the south side of Oxnard. I grew up on College Estates, which is mainly a Filipino community, but it's more now it's all Mexican again. So that's what I heard from my brother.
Yeah.
Last time I went, and I said I don't see that many Filipinos no more, and they're like, oh, all the Russells over here now. I said, oh, that's pretty tight. So yeah, I'm from born and raised in Oxnard, California. Grew up in College Estates. That's how I did it.
Did you live in that same house all your life? That house right there near College Estates?
Yeah, I lived that whole house my whole life, and then I remodeled it.
Yeah.
I made it like into a 10-room mansion for my mom, and so just so she could have a nice big house, So not like I was gonna still live there, I just did it for her, and so my brother still lives there. My mom still lives there. So my grandma lived there, and she passed away, but it's just a house that we've all grew up in, so there's a lot of memories there. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I've gone there a few times. I don't know if you remember me telling you, but I was when I was living in Oxnard. I became good friends with your brother Roger my last few years that I was there, and I went over there a few different times and even met your mom. And they would tell me stories about you when you were a little kid, man. And I was like, wow, that sounds like Fernando, And but being from here, from Oxnard, and hearing all these different stories about you, everybody knows that you had that tough childhood. What was that childhood like for you? Through your eyes, what were some of those things that made it a tough childhood?
it was some difficult moments in my life. I was a roughneck kid. My dad was never around. My biological dad passed away a few years ago. It was like we just lost somebody that you kind of knew, but not knew too good. And so, he passed away not too long ago, but he was never part of my life. And, I had a maggot stepfather that treated me just like that, like a stepchild. And, I would be running the streets a month because, I don't want to be home. So that got me in trouble, with the law. And I always knew how to street fight, but my tío Mario taught me how to street fight as a kid. And so, I just loved to fight, what I mean? It didn't matter. I never picked on people. I never one of those bullies that picked on people that didn't ever fought back now. But if you wanted to pick a fight with me, you were gonna get it. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you were bigger than me, and if you whooped me. Guess what? When I saw you again, we're gonna fight again, and until I whoop you. And even after I whoop you, I'm gonna still go, and still even after I whoop you and I see you again, we're gonna get down again. And then we're like, why? Why you want to beat me up? If you already beat me up already times, all kinds of times ago, because you try to take advantage of a young kid. And so now I'm gonna, because I'm older now, and then I could whoop your ass. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna whoop you.
It was on for life, like they say.
It was on for life, and people are like, I can't even believe people sometimes when they say they've never been in a street fight, and I'm like, what in the world? People used to knock on my door to fight me. So one day when I was already locked up in juvenile, hundreds of hours for community service for batteries and thefts, and one day when I was suspended from school for fighting, mostly batteries, but one day when I was suspended from school for fighting. I was at home watching TV, and then I saw Jones Intercable Ringside Boxing Challenge. There's La Colonia Boxing Gym and kids fighting with headgears and winning trophies. I said, "What in the hell is this?" I could do this. There's no, what in the world does this exist?
Yeah.
This even exists?
Like I do this
I
on the
can't even,
street.
I can't even believe this. Let's
Yeah.
go. I go. I found out where La Corona Boxing Gym was the next day. I walked there the next day. It took me an hour to walk 3 miles as a 12-year-old kid because I lived from College Estates
Yeah.
to La Colonia.
That
So
sounds right.
it took me 1 hour to walk 3 miles as a 12-year-old kid, but nothing was gonna stop me. I started going, and nothing was gonna stop my life changed. My mom said, "If you get in trouble at school, you're not going boxing." I didn't get in trouble at school no more. So that's why one of the things that I love about boxing is if not, I probably would have been like my dad, a deadbeat dad, or I probably would have been locked up for life. I know that's for sure. I would probably killed my Maggie's stepfather. I just know that if it wasn't for boxing and for first and foremost God, I would be locked up in jail for life or dead. And so I got to La Corona Boxing Gym, and it took me 4 years to break history. To me, people think like, "Oh, that's cool. You guys, those little kids box, and they might do it just because their parents may take them to the gym, or they want to do, it, or but they're not really like gonna do it for life. They're like, oh, I'll just do it for a few years, or I'll just do it for a few months. No, I said when I got to La Corona Boxing Gym, I said I'm gonna be great, and one day everybody's gonna know my name. Everybody's gonna know my name, and I ensured this by one way only. What did I do? I said, if I want to be huge in this sport and I want to be a legend in this sport, I got to go to church. I got to ask God to help me. So I started wearing my Copa Smurfs on my handlebars to go to church. And I started serving God. And in 4 years, I broke history. From being a street fighter in the streets to being the youngest national champion in boxing history, 16 years of age. What does that mean? Open division. That means that you're at 16 years of age, you're fighting men. They're up to 32 years of age. It doesn't matter if you have 10 fights or 600 fights. It doesn't matter. You have 10 fights. That's the minimum you have to fight. You have to be an open fighter. Now, check this out. I fought the defending champion, the reigning champion, the top rated guys, and they all I beat them all, but it's all because of God. And I guess this is enough because I remember praying on my knees like I pray now as a man before I go to bed, before I start my day. I said, Lord, I need you to help me. Please help me with this tournament. Help me out. And I started getting then. I lived on the good side of Oxnard, but I wasn't gonna ask my Maggie stepfather for anything. So my mom, she did good and she raised us good and she did her best, but she had his back more than she had mine. But it's all right. I forgive my mom, and to this day we're good. But I started fighting as I started, breaking history. Like quick. It took me 4 years to break history because I did not play when it came to boxing. Rain, sleet, or snow. I'm at the boxing gym. I'm walking to the gym when I didn't have a car or didn't have a bike and it took me an hour to walk 3 miles. And then Garcia saw me walking. My jefe, the señor Eduardo Garcia, saw me walking down Rose Avenue, and he goes, Fernando, ¿dónde vas? And then when it gets late and like early, and
Yeah.
it's like 5 o'clock, and it's already late, it's
Getting
already
dark.
nighttime.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So he saw me. He goes, ¿Dónde vas, Fernando? A mi casa. And he goes, ¿Dónde vives? And I told him, atrás de Chano en high school. Dice, ¿y vienes caminando todos los días? And I go, así es. And he goes, mira, yo te voy a dar, mira, súbete en la van. Es bien la van, dice, me dijo, te voy a llevar primero a mi casa porque yo vivo en la Channel en Boulevard, cerca es donde tú dices que vives. Y luego te voy a llevar a tu casa. Y luego, si quieres, yo te doy ride todos los días. Si vas acabando la escuela, yo te doy ride pato. To me, I hit the lottery. I said, vámonos, Rezo, claro que sí. And I was there the next day. And, that's when Garcia started.
How did you meet both
Yep.
Eduardo and Robert? Do you remember the first time you met them?
Yeah, when I went to the gym. Well, just like, you understand that, there's a lot of kids that go to the gym and then that,
Right.
that don't end up going back. And So, people go for a few months and then we'll go no more. So, Garcia, you know, I was down to spar as soon as I got there, but I didn't even know shit, but it didn't work like that. So, like one day, Garcia asked me if I wanted to spar. I said, hell yeah, I want to spar. And so he put another guy. It was me, Peanut, then another guy. So we're the novice kids, and so I would go in there, and I don't know what I was doing, but I was, I ended up, giving the guy with the bloody nose, and then Garcia was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Mario was there, Martin Noriega was there, and he was like, okay, let's do this. Vamos a hacer esto. Let's make do a competition, see who's a better trainer. You pick whoever you want of those of the novice kids, and from there, you could, from there you see which one you want, and we'll see who's a better trainer, and we'll spar 'em at the end of the month. So Martin picked another dude, and my other one picked another dude, and I was the one left. He goes, okay, cool, I'll take Fernando, no problem. From there, you weren't gonna outwork me, bro. You weren't gonna outwork me. My discipline was ridiculous, and because of the fact that I loved boxing so much, like it was something I said I'm gonna do my whole life when I was a kid. I remember. So after a few weeks of us training, he put us to spar, and I beat those dudes up so bad they never came back. So but if it wasn't for Eduardo Garcia, I wouldn't be where I am today. I call him Jefe. He's my father, and so if it wasn't for him, I didn't have a dad. My dad, the drug life and the street life were a little too important for him, and jail life were too important for him than I was. So it's all good, It's like I forgave him, I had a lot of anger, and because of that, so I'm just grateful that I got my kids, and I got able to give them all the love that I didn't have from my father.
Mm.
And even though Garcia always treated me good, I'm not his son, but even though he said that he treats me like his son, and which is a blessing to me and to hear and make me feel so good. But he's not my dad, and it feels so much better. Like it would have felt a lot better, like if my dad would have been involved with me, but
Right.
I wasn't dealt those cards. So to me, it's like I would die first before my anything that takes me away from my kids, because I could never do anything like that to my kids, and I would never want them to hurt the way I hurt,
Yeah.
and because it's fucked up when it's Father and Sunday
Right.
at school, and in your seat by yourself.
Yeah.
So it's fucked up.
Fernando. That's actually very like I think about that. And there's a lot of Fernando's Vargas out there, but there's a lot of them out there, and I mean like kids with no dads. And if it wasn't like you said for boxing, you would have found your family, in a gang or something. You would have went that
Yeah,
route.
no, definitely. I
Eh,
would have been.
Yeah.
I would have done something. I would have done something stupid to show how brave I was. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
it was not even. It's like when you're a kid, you want to just show that you're a badass, and I always knew that I was a badass. There was not too there was too many fools that kicked my ass in a street fight. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you do lose a few, but there wasn't too many when I was a kid. So I said to myself, well, this is a kid's logic of 12 years old. It's like, well, if I could street fight, I could box, and
Right.
which has nothing to do with it. But God gave me the ability to be able to learn quickly, and to me, it was not a game. Yeah, I broke history, and I became every time I moved up 25, 32, 39, 47. I moved up and I became number one in the nation. So it wasn't a game to me. It wasn't something that, oh, this is just what I'm doing for my part time. No, this is my life.
Yeah.
And I took it like that. So and then I became a Olympian, youngest Olympian at 18.
Hmm.
And then I'm a youngest junior middleweight champion of boxing because it wasn't a game.
Hmm.
It wasn't a game for me, and I remember as a kid, like, where you from? I'm from Oxnard. They said, where's that? I said,
Exactly.
45,
Now because
45
of you,
minutes to
everybody
LA.
knows where it's at.
40, 45 minutes north of LA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Where you from, man? I'm from Oxnard. Where the hell is that? And now I'm not the valet, man. And then like, and then now, and then so, then when they go, where you from, man? I'm from Oxnard, top of the food chain.
Yeah.
And they're like, why is it top of the, how is it top of the food chain? Because we're a small city. We eat everybody up. We're on top of the food chain. You know, so I did that for, just because it was a, me calaba la verga when people be like, hey, man, where you from? And where's Oxnard? Where the fuck is Oxnard? I don't know. Where the hell is that at? I never heard of it. Well,
Yeah.
I'm from one on top of the food chain.
Yeah.
So, that's why I did that on the top of the food chain. And,
Do-
and then I just started blowing up Oxnard because I wanted to, everybody to know where I was from.
and that you were proud of it. That's right.
Yeah, man.
And also, like growing up, like you said, you accomplished all this stuff at an early age. At 16 years old, like you said, you were a national champion and all that, and you were like the youngest one on the Olympic team as well in '96. All that stuff. Did you grow up quick because of all this childhood and stuff? Do you think that made you mature and grow up quicker than anybody else because you were kind of born and raised like in survival mode type thing? And that matured you.
Absolutely. I was, involved with the media very young and,
Yeah.
and to say and what not to say. And, I didn't have nobody to teach me, but it did definitely help me to become like a man. Like I had to do it when I was 18 because I wanted to. Because I wanted to be for the father that I didn't have, so, to me, that's what it was all about. I'm like, when I met my wife, I said, "Voy a conocer a más mis hijos." And to this day, we've been together for 27 years. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that God doesn't make mistakes, and He knows that. And I started going to church as a 12-year-old kid, and I still do to this day. And I'm a Christian now, and I didn't know nothing about the Bible like I know now, but God was still relevant, very relevant in my life. And so, I went through a bunch of things in my life, and it's unfortunate that those are the cards that I was dealt, but those are not going to be the cards that my kids are going to be dealt. So, it did make me grow up quick, and like I was already in the media at 16. I was already like they called me the waste kid. It was like I was just a kid that was able to accomplish so much as being top ranked guys and men that would come up to me and be like, "Look who I'm gonna fight! Look who I'm gonna fight! I'm gonna wax this little kid." I'm gonna say, and I tell him, "Remember what the fuck you just said, motherfucker?" Because after I want to see your face, and then after I whoop him, I said, "What happened?" You know what I mean? So I was always a person that if you talk shit, I'm gonna talk shit back. And, I'll never, let you, try to talk down upon me. So, it was just, just my perseverance, man, that I said to myself, even as a kid, you start thinking to yourself, like when I started thinking back in my past as a kid, I'm like, I was already a man at
Yeah.
12 years old, walking to Colonia by myself, and the nighttime riding a bike by myself to Colonia or walking to Colonia just to get to the boxing gym. And I'm walking by myself. Nobody helped me.
Mhm.
I didn't have support in my. I wasn't gonna ask my stepfather to pay a ride. My mom wouldn't give me a ride, or she would have gone from the house or whatever it was, and so nobody was gonna give me a ride. So I took it upon myself. I said, I'm gonna do this by myself, and nobody's gonna help me. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna do it. I got God on my side, and that's what I did. I started leaning, on God, and God's never failed me, not once.
When you first started your amateur career, a lot of people believe in there's some people that have a natural ability. You obviously had a lot of street fights and stuff, so I wouldn't doubt if you were good going in. But there's also people that say you have to learn the sport to be able to be good. How would you put that? Do you think you were natural in your
No,
first?
when I was sparring,
Yeah.
I would I do turns, like I'd turn around. I'm like if I'm looking at you, I turn around fully, and then I'm back at you like that because like I'm right back at you looking at you again. But that's not what people do if they know how to fight. I mean, I didn't know how to fight, but I knew that I was always good at sports. I was always good at sports, Albert. I was always like, as a kid, I remember, we were doing the push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and I always got, I have a mile of like 5:35, and then people try to beat me, and then I'll go away and I'll beat them again, and beat the record, and so I was always athletic, I was always good, and so that's where my kids get the athleticism from their dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how my kids make it look like they've been boxing for years and they haven't. The only one that's been boxing for a long time is Emiliano. That's why he's at on a different level, and he's taught, and I've taught him everything from Garcia, and I've learned from Buddy McGirt, and I learned from Floyd Senior, and I learned from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I learned from everybody. I don't know, you never stop learning this game, Albert.
Right.
So, yeah, I just I can't say that I was good. So this is a competition with Garcia when when we were sparring, and then they saw the three guys. That was the last one that they picked. And Garcia goes, "It's all right, I'll train them." And then I started training hard and just putting my life into it because that's what I did. It wasn't a joke for me. Like I said, it wasn't something like, oh yeah, this is gonna do for fun. No, this is my life. And I started. I was there every day where the first is gonna open, and I was the first one in and the last one out.
Yeah.
I love boxing that much. You know what I mean? So if it wasn't for boxing, I'd be locked up in jail for life or dead. And so I'm grateful. That's why I have my own foundation right now. We are relocating gyms, but it's Fernando Vargas Fighting Foundation, giving inner city kids a fighting chance. There's many Fernando Vargases out there that get in trouble, and I remember my mom telling me, "You're just gonna be just like your dad," and I'm like, "Well, where is this fool at? Do I know who he is?"
Yeah.
And my dad was, always locked up. He murdered a vato, and then he got off, and I was like, we had some good times, and then, he passed away. But it's like, after a while, you're living your life as so fast. I'm like, and I would tell him like, vato, like, when is it gonna be enough? And he goes, what do you mean? When is it gonna be enough? Like, you missed out on my life as a kid, and I resented and I hated you for that because of your absence. I was treated like shit. You know what I mean? And so when is it gonna change? When are you gonna be like, okay, that's enough. You've been left for dead plenty of time, and then you come back to life, and you still go back to the same shit. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And so it's just tough, I'm just grateful that God gave me the hands that He wanted to give me, and I think that if Vato would have been part of my life, I probably would have been a dude that would be hitting his wife and abusing his wife, and he broke my mom's jaw and stuff, and there I'm like. And I told him what to hear. Like, yeah, I wasn't there, because I would have killed you. You know what I mean? You're not.
Yeah.
You're lucky that when I was a kid, like
Yeah.
I was a baby when this shit happened, but I would have killed you.
You went to CI High School, right?
I went to Fred Williams, and then I went to Blackstock, and then I went to Channel Islands.
Channel Islands.
First
was
of my family graduated from high school.
what was high school like for you? Now you're a tough kid. Number one, you go into boxing,
Well,
you know how to fight, and then you're starting to get some
beautiful.
popularity.
Yeah, man. Well,
What was that
I'm
like?
making a name for myself. I'm coming all over the newspaper, and that kid that never could, the kid that didn't have no style, that didn't have, that had mocos on his face. And
the people try to fuck. The people try to fuck with you for all that because they wanted to get a piece of you because you are this popular kid. And, no,
never,
really,
never ever wanted to see. And if they wanted it, then they saw what it was, and then they thought different, But I've never been in a fight that I never liked, Albert. And so whether or not I've never been in a fight that I don't like. I had a popularity because I was already becoming an Olympian, and for first ever Olympian out of Oxnard,
right?
And people were knowing who I was, and hey, I'm not gonna look for fights, but please don't start them with me, because I'm not one of these dudes that's gonna back down and just say because I'm not supposed to fight because I'm a fighter. No, you know who I am, and you want to get crazy. they've tried to jump me plenty of times, and that didn't work. So it's like you know, I gotta, I was, on the newspaper every other week from me winning tournaments and everything and becoming an Olympian. Out of Tennis High School, and it was big. I mean, it was big media there for when I graduated, because I'm going to the Olympics. So it was huge.
Yeah. Jose Aguiniga, yesterday I was telling you, when we talked real quick, I was telling you that I talked to Jose Aguiniga a few months ago, and he said something pretty interesting. He had told me that he said, before Fernando, everybody just kind of everybody in the gym just wanted to be a boxer, but, after him, we saw that, that he, because of the Olympics and you were going that route and that there was such thing as that, everybody started wanting to go to that route and becoming an Olympian because of you. Did you see that surge of people saying, "Hey, I want to be on the next team and start doing, the amateur thing or trying to go towards the Olympics because you doing it?"
I was too busy with my own career to look at that.
Yeah,
I was like, I was too busy turning pro,
yeah,
becoming a world champion. So I
mhm,
was already in the Duba camp. I was already in going to Florida, West Palm Beach. I would take my wife and Junior with me. Junior was just a baby in Pampers.
right,
So and now my history repeats itself. My kids are doing it, and
yeah.
it's just amazing for me. It truly is like a blessing to see this, and like and
He was that little kid that used to be on somebody's shoulders raising the little number one finger.
yeah,
We used to go into those
yeah,
early fights back in your
yeah.
early days.
Him, Amado, Emiliano just caught a little bit at the end. He goes, "I don't remember nothing, Daddy. I was a baby." And I
Yeah,
go, but look at you. You're like an 8-time national champion, number one in the United States. You're no joke too, So, he goes, "But man, but I'm just happy that you're part of my life, and that you could always tell me exactly what you see, because you've been there. You know what it is to be the very top of the sport, and you know what it is to fight with the very best, and you know what it is to win and become a world champion. So that's what I want to do. And you're an Olympian also. So if I want to go to the Olympics too, I know you know what you're talking about too, because you were an Olympian.
like when you got onto or you won the tournament to get you onto the Olympic team, and you won that tournament. What did that feel like? I'm Fernando Vargas. I'm from this little city called Oxnard that nobody knows,
And
and I'm gonna go
people
into the Olympics. How did that feel?
people
How did
don't
that
know
make you feel?
how people do. Look, that was amazing, but people don't know, Albert, that I was named Fernando Chavez as a grade school, and it's grade school, and all the way to junior high. I started using Fernando Vargas in high school because, let me just tell you this, I hated it because it was my dad's name, and
Wow.
my mom's maiden name is Chavez. So
Mhm.
everybody knew Fernando Chavez as a roughneck kid that knew how to street fight. So I remember when I was a kid, when I was like 12, 13 years of age, and they go, "You got to use what's on your birth certificate, son, if you want to use your book." It's a fighting book where they put all the fights that you have, whether wins or losses or whatever. And so I remember as a kid, I was like, but my name is Fernando Chavez in school. You can see, I can show you my grade, my what's it called, my grades, and I can show you that my name says Fernando Chavez. He goes, "Sorry, son, your name has to be what's on your birth certificate." And I remember that day I cried so bad, and I was so mad. And I just remember like being so mad because I hated Vargas because it was Javier's last name.
Mm.
And I hated it because he was never in my life. And I hated it because he didn't give a fuck about me. You know what I mean? So, and you could say that you did, but your action's so different.
So your mind is
So
like you don't give a fuck about me, so I'm not gonna give a fuck about your name.
he
That's what it
says,
was.
"I'm not gonna give a fuck." So that's what to me it was like, "Fuck you and fuck your name."
Yeah.
So when they said I would that you got to use what's on your birth certificate, or else you can't get your book. I remember I was crying. I went to the bathroom, I was crying. I was so fucking mad.
Yeah.
And I go, And I remember crying for like 5 minutes, crying, fuck this shit. Why that motherfucker's not that motherfucker was never part of me. That motherfucker never took care of me. That motherfucker never provided for me. That motherfucker never taught me shit. That motherfucker didn't do shit for me. I was bawling about them, and then I remember I said, fuck you.
Yeah.
Today, Vargas starts with me. And I'm going to give it to my kids and to my wife and making a name to be proud of. Not an ex-felon name, not an ex-murderer name, not an ex-drug addict name, not a deadbeat dad's name. I'm gonna give it to my kids and to my wife, and it's gonna be a name de huevos. It's gonna be a name of pride of what a man is supposed to be. And I remember, and that's when I started using Vargas. Now I'm Vargas.
I've never heard that story, Fernando.
Yeah,
Never didn't even know you were a Chavez at one time.
yeah. My mom made him as Chavez, and my favorite fighter of all time was Chavez, and
Chavez, yeah, of course.
so yeah, I grew up with that name, and no, and my name, check this out, my name was Fernando Javier Vargas,
Oh
or
no,
Javier.
double
And
whammy.
check this out, when I turned 18, I fucking went to go to the court of Las Vegas, court of
Ventura.
Ventura County,
Hmm.
in Ventura, and I fucking erased my fucking middle name as fucking Javier.
Oh wow, crazy.
Yeah.
Being there in Atlanta, you getting there now. You're on the team. You're the baby of the team. Getting there, what did that feel like? Again, you being that little kid, that kid from Oxnard that nobody knew where that was from. What was it like being there at the games, man? I remember the Muhammad Ali thing where he lit the torch. What was that like?
It was amazing. It was like, I can't believe I'm here. Look, I could believe that I'm here, but I can't believe that I'm here, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, I can't believe that I'm here, but I know that I'm
You,
supposed
you,
to be
you
here
knew,
because
yeah,
I
you knew
know
you were going to be
I,
successful.
I knew that I was gonna do it. I knew
Yeah.
that I was gonna do it. And so Garcia always taught us to always think that way, to always never think that you're lesser than anybody, or you always have to think that you're better, like you have to have that mentality that you're great, that
Mm.
nobody can beat you. And he always Garcia set us up to be superstars, really. And so I'm at the Olympic Games, and I'm at the Olympic, the opening ceremonies, and I go, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. I look all around, I go, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for letting me make it here. I've always been a grateful person to God because of everything that I have is because of it. Everything that I've done is because of it. I'm supposed to be a drug addict. I'm supposed to be a jailbird. I'm supposed to be like Vato. But God had other plans.
Yeah. You got to the fight where you were eliminated. Everybody knew that was a bullshit decision, and you should have gone forward, but it didn't happen. What did that feel like to not get that decision or to be or eliminated for the Olympics there? What
It,
was it like?
it hurt because and NBC did an analysis of the fight, me landing I don't know how many punches and not
Yeah.
getting that point.
Yeah.
And, it hurt because I wanted to win a gold medal. And I want to be an Olympic gold medalist.
Mhm.
But Garcia says, Fernando, I was a little bit, distraught. I was emotional, and I was like, man, I can't believe they jobbed me like this. And I'm like, he goes, Fernando, no te preocupes, te voy a llenar la panza de oro. And to become a three-time world champion, he did it. He helped me raise somebody from the strawberry fields.
Right.
And so, but to me, I always had his back, and he always had mine. And still this day, that's not changed.
Your pro debut. I was there. It was up the street from my house, the auditorium there, and so I had to be there, of course. And I was there like fifth row, I think, and all that noise that you made there in that city, we knew that something special was here. It just felt like something special. You were going to see something special that day. I think it was USA Tuesday night fights, was it?
Yeah,
And
Tuesday night fight.
it was you had the mariachi come in, the whole thing. You were the whole show was in Oxnard, because of a pro debut that was from the Olympics. What did that
Yep.
feel like to get that main event status already in your pro debut in your hometown?
That was amazing because, I said that I was a man. because they said, "Well, we're going to turn pro. We're going to turn you pro in Las Vegas." And I go, "No, you're not." And they go, "What do you mean you're no, we're not?" They go, "No, you're not. The pro debut is going to be in Oxnard." They go, "What? In Oxnard? Well, nobody's ever knows where Oxnard is exactly. I'm going to make my pro debut in Oxnard, and everybody's going to go there. It's going to be on Tuesday Night Fights." And that I said, and that was what was done. I go, so hey, when you're the only Mexican fighter that somebody like Main Events has, and you're an Olympian, you tell them what to do. You guys work for me. I don't work for you. You don't tell me what to do. I tell you what to do. So that's what I did. And so, I told him, if we're going to do it in Oxnard, and, we had USA Tuesday Night Fights, and I fought a guy that had, I don't know how many fights, like 60 to 30 to 60 fights, something like that. Yeah, granted, they were half of them were losses, but they're still experienced.
Yeah, yeah.
They're probably stepping into some where nobody's been before. I never was a professional till that night
And it was
without a headgear.
And it was crazy that night. It was whatever amount of people that were there. It felt like there was 20 times that. It felt like a whole arena was there because people, were starting to love this new idea of hearing Oxnard on TV, watching it on TV. It was just a new thing for us, and it brought a lot of hope and a lot of attention. What was it like winning that first fight there in your home city?
Well, you never know what it is to fight without a headgear, and then
Yeah.
I didn't get hit one. I might get hit with one little punch, but other than that, you're like, wow, this is boxing for real. You're fighting without a headgear, and you're playing for keeps here. So it was definitely a great experience. I loved it. It was I was like, man, I'm made for this. I'm made for this. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. As a kid, I was only 18, 19 when I turned pro. And so I was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do my whole life. But it was definitely a blessing to me.
Maicito Lopez fought that night as well, and I heard he went out to the ghetto bars afterwards. What was it like having you had that much attention where you had even a guy like Maicito Lopez fight under your undercard?
It's like it's everything that I ever wanted. You understand that I was that kid that never had that many friends, and I was like, because I was a roughneck, I was like a kid that would fight with everybody, but like only if you started battle with me, only if you wanted to fight. And I didn't pick on. I just didn't. I always thought that was lame. That picking on people that can't fight. Why? Pick on people that can fight. People wanted to test me all the time. Like, well, older dudes that are, well, let's fight. Let's fight. Let's go. And so, just like I said, nobody knew where Oxnard was, and then now Oxnard's on the map, and I started putting Oxnard on the map, and saying that on TV, and saying Oxnard top of the food chain, just making people understand where Oxnard was, you know what I mean? Because I didn't like it that they tried to diss my city because I'm like, where the hell is that? I never heard of it in my life.
You're like, I'm going to show you where it's at.
I'm going to show you where it's at.
Yeah. And you sure did. And like you're saying, you did fight pretty good competition, even since the start. One of your, I think like your 7th or 8th fight, I remember you fought a guy named Alex Quiroga, and it was on TV, and he had a pretty good, good, a record. A guy before that, you fought Kevin Payne. He was like 7-1, but you were like 5-0 or something. So you fought guys with pretty good experience. Dan Connolly, I remember people were saying, "Hey, this guy's going to put something on Fernando." Thinking that was too early in your career to fight a guy like Dan Connolly, and you beat him early.
Yeah, Dan Connolly went on like I don't know how many rounds with David Reed, and David Reed's an Olympic gold medalist. Remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm over there whooping these dudes, but it's like it's all God, bro. It's all God, and I always say that because I'm just grateful to the man upstairs for everything he's done and continues to do in my life. It's not over, it's not over yet. Look at my, I was working with a few professionals, and then God took them away like they were no good. Like not that they were no good, but they they were definitely good because that's why I messed with them. That's why I was training them. But they're unloyal.
Mm,
So when I would be praying, I'm like, God, well, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And then and God showed me, goes, why do you have to go anywhere? Look at you. You have your champions at your house. You don't need to go anywhere else. You got your Junior, Amado, Emiliano. There's never been a world champion father that trained his three kids that become world champion. So that'd be another record if God lets me do it, and I think that's why He took away other ungrateful people that I was working with.
mhm.
So that's where I'm at right now. I'm working with my boys, and I don't need to be working with nobody else, and that's it, man.
And we're talking about a young